What is up, everyone? I'm excited to jump into another episode of the Road to NBA 2K21 as we return from All-Star Weekend, where only for the third time in the series, Donovan, Faran, DeSean and I, we all shared the same court and we put on an absolute show in Indianapolis, leading our team to the dub. But in this installment, we retake the court as heated competitors, playing all three friends in this episode in that order. First, Donnie out in Portland, Faran Lakers at home, and then traveling out west to go to battle versus DeSean and Luka Doncic. Last time we played Portland was right before the All-Star break. They recently just traded Robert Covington for Taurean Prince in a first-round pick, and Prince was not active for this game, so even a little dinged up, Portland still made it hard for us to take the win, beating them by 6. Donnie had 18 and 6 blocks, an absolute monster that game. And this leads me into the Western Conference playoffs. Only 2 months left in the year, and we find ourselves a half game out of Donovan and the number 1 overall seed, with the Clippers and Nuggets right on our tail. And also DeSean's Mavericks, they are 5 games out in the 6th spot, and the Los Angeles Lakers and Faran, they're 5.5 games out of the top overall seed. Those pregame intros, they give me the chills every single time, especially here in the Moda Center, one of the toughest places to play in the NBA. And Donovan and AD, of course, the matchup that everybody likes to watch. It feels like one game Donovan, he has AD's number, and then the next game AD gives it right back. So it's always going to be fun to see who takes that matchup as we get underway with a rebound. McCollum missing, and as you can see, Taurean Prince almost stole that pass, but I do slip it in to Aaron Catley, who converts for my first assist. So Portland going to be at full strength tonight as we have the early lead. Lillard, however, coming back the other way and converts the and one. Wow. Count the basket. Richaun Holmes hacked him, and somehow Damian Lillard, number 3 in the MVP voting as he tries to win his second of the series, and here he is pulling up, but there's a great defensive stand, but with AD coming out, that leaves the back door wide open for Donovan Gray to punch one down off of the rebound, and he's a big reason why Portland's actually number 1 in the NBA in rebounds a game. So this team is just so tough. Combine those rebounding totals with their three-point shooting, and they have so many looks from deep, and now they try a lob to Donovan. That one's tipped away, and on the break, that one will convert. So Damian Lillard, he gets on the board with an and one, and there is the call back as I step to the line for my first scoring opportunity of this one, and I cap off the three-point play. Mano-a-mano here with Damian Lillard early. Knotted up at 8, high screen from Donnie, little in and out, nice dish, and Donovan Gray, we did all we could, but he is just so tough, so strong when he gets it down in the low post. Donovan averaging just a hair under 18 a game, along with his 12 rebounds, 2.5 blocks. 15-11, AD doesn't want the post up, kicks it out to me, a parallel pick and roll with 8 seconds left to shoot, passing out of my shot, and AD finally, little hesitation there, but then he still punched it down over Nurkic and Donovan. And it's going to be games like this where we have to prove we can hang tough here, as Portland here on the road, definitely going to be the top dogs going into the playoffs if we don't make up this ground, as Lillard tries it twice and Nurkic collects his second offensive board to give Lillard his third look of the possession. And luckily he misses there, and that's what I was talking about before. Nice take here real quick though, nice little scoop layup with my offhand. But that's what I was talking about before. Portland, they have so much volume from 3-point, and it's just because of their rebounding totals. Like I said, number 1 in the NBA, so good on the glass, especially offensively, and that's probably the biggest difference between Portland and the other top teams here in the West. McCollum makes a 3 there, and that would spark a bit of a run as the bench would check in for Portland. And here is Gary Trent. What is Josh Hart doing? Too much space there for Trent. And our first stoppage of play here, it comes off a timeout. 27-18, all Portland here. They've gone on a bit of a run, and it will continue into the second half as the starters check out and check back in. So Joining the starters now is Jahlil Okafor and Otto Porter that makes up the Pelicans 5 as immediately off the inbound. A quick parallel pick and roll, so quick I don't even think Portland saw that one coming. As AD, little windmill, haven't said his name much yet, but getting easy looks against this Portland defense for the brow, always a lot tougher said than done. Now Otto Porter, who's continued to play well, he misfires, AD collects, and he will put it in. So some fight here for New Orleans on the glass. If you want to hang with Portland, that is exactly how you show some fight. Gary Trent off the dribble though, very next possession up the floor. Caitley and Hart not learning their lessons despite Portland continuously hitting these threes. 41-33 as Lillard's now checking back in. A high screen as Lillard, he's off balance a little bit, goes into Anthony Davis, which frees up the right side of the court. Yet another scoop layup. I'm 3 of 7 so far. I've made my 3 layup attempts, missed my 4 jump shot attempts, so a bit of a weird night for me on offense so far. Portland looks to pull away here as Donovan's actually checking me with Lillard on AD, so I want to do a dribble handoff with him to set him up, but a tough roll off the rim. Great defensive anticipation by Donovan. He saw that coming and he quickly switched the matchup, forcing AD into a miss, and now Prince sets a screen for Lillard. Check out the range by Dame Dalla. I've been holding my own against the MVP candidates so far, only 4 of 11 shooting for Damian Lillard, but it hasn't mattered much on the scoreboard as you can tell. The lead is now 15 as AD's been frustrated. He's trying to go to the rim and forcing the issue comes back to bite him. Donovan Gray sends that into the 5th row as he's in search for his 2nd DPOY award here in the series in his career. 10 seconds left to shoot, still down 15. If we can score, then that block shot won't matter, but missing my 5th jump shot, a tough roll off the rim there, but that's no excuse. Just not a good look there. And on this possession, I find myself on Jusuf Nurkic, and even when Portland misses, falls right into the hands of Nurkic, and a really stupid foul there, not being aware of my surroundings. I should have just let him go right back up with it, and that's my 3rd personal foul. And on the very next time up the floor, the impetuosity in the post does not stop. Donnie tips it in. We were doing such a good job holding our own on the boards, but here at the end of the first half, not a lot of fights as a chase down block for Donnie G. He had 6 in the last matchup, and he's already up to 3, and McCollum embarrasses me on the perimeter, and then takes it to the rack and embarrasses Caitley at the rim. Yeah, this game continuously just getting more and more out of hand. The lead's now 20, looking for any signs of life on offense, and finally, a green light for my first made jump shot, shooting 4 of 10 so far. It'll be crucial for New Orleans to try to win these last 2 minutes going into the break, and that is not how you do it right there. Lillard goes back through on me, my 4th personal foul. I can only think of one other time in this series that I've played a game and I've fouled out in. But I am in danger of making that 2 games of my career where I fouled out in, and 70-43, yikes, this game got even more out of control with a 11-2 run with me off the floor to head into the intermission. The Blazers ended the quarter on a 37-16 run, very disappointing game to say the least. They're the best rebounding team in the association, they're showing why. 14 rebounds for Donovan Gray, along with his 7 points. Add another 7 boards for Nurkic and 7 for Enes Kanter, and that just allows them to get extra looks from 3, and you cannot allow that against this team. Hart and Caitley have both been invisible. I head into the break with 9 points and 4 assists. Portland 10 of 22 from beyond the arc, make that 11 of 23. There's Dame's 4-3 ball, but he's taken 12 attempts from beyond the arc. And we're just not providing much fight to try to contain the things that Portland specializes in, and that's showing on the scoreboard. Caitley, though, finally with some answers. He was held in check in the first half, only 1 field goal for my college teammate, but there's a huge 3 ball to answer back Lillard. They try to go with the same play, that one just rims out. Portland trying to go for the jugular. A made 3 there would have extended it to 30, but Caitley back-to-back 3s. Still a lot of time to play. Anything could happen. Portland is probably the toughest team in the NBA to come back on, but I guess we'll see what we have in the tank as AD, not much more I can say about him, continues his cold night, and Donovan tries to take Hart one-on-one, and he has it picked. Finally some fight from this defense as AD going down the lane, 2nd time tonight. He's busting out the windmill. The brow looks to try to continue to get it going. That's easier said than done, like I said, against Donovan though. Lead is down to 22, making some progress. A jump shot there does not fall in my favor once again. Still 11 points, a decent night on offense for me. And this is just a stupid foul right here. Just straight up not being aware of the situation at hand. Foul number 5 for me. We still got 17 minutes left to go here in the ball game. Yeah, I pride myself on my IQ, and that was not a smart play. Kaylee, though, goes backdoor for the second time tonight. How about a quick 8 points for Aaron as we trim the lead down to 20. Still a lot of time to play. Portland, they're running the screen. Going across the key is Lillard, trying to fight around 2 Portland defenders, and I commit a foul on the jump shots. Lillard, he makes me pay. And you guys know I always say a lot in these videos, you never foul a jump shooter, and to make that my 6th foul, that just hurts even more. Right when we were making some progress, we come up short, and this night comes to an abrupt end. 132 to 119. We made it a little bit more competitive down the stretch, but at the end of the day, with that huge hole we dug ourselves in, we just could not make it up. But check out how crazy the second half got with me off the floor. Anthony Davis had 24 points in the 4th quarter alone, finishing with 51. He was struggling in the first half, but all of a sudden he came alive for 36 total in the second half. Kaylee finished his big 3rd quarter performance with 14 total in the second half as well. I personally, of course, only played 19 minutes. I chipped in 11 points, 7 assists, 5 of 12 from the floor. Only made 1 jump shot throughout the entire game. Marcos Uzada Silva and Kyra Lewis Jr., they split time in my absence, both playing fairly well. As Lewis, the rookie, he recorded 6 assists, and Lillard had a great day in the second half. I was doing a good job on him, but of course those backup point guards, that is an advantage that Lillard licks his chops at. 14 and 18 plus 3 blocks for Donnie G. The rebounds killed us, and we would drop 2 straight coming out of the All-Star break, continuing our West Coast trip. I had 22 and 11, but 6 assists here in the Warriors game that came back to bite us. But then a win against the Lakers, this one by 7. I had 20 and 14. Faran with a really nice game, but it wasn't enough. And then a win against Cleveland. So now the next game against the Lakers, let's try to make it 3 straight and improve to above 500 since coming back from the All-Star break.
They birthed the monster in 94 with Jordan's prefects that I entered a new dimension. So why would I wait just to tell them that I'm back? Wait a minute, they relax for a minute, whoa. We might need to send a tab to all these niggas, take them back to the beginning, cause I'm bad at taking winners. Got a handle on my business and I'm handling these figures. I can stand it with these niggas, they can't stand to see me winning. Look, I ain't taking nothing less than 1,000,000 acres. Been Paul walking to the bank with a couple takers. I got my head screwed on tight, I mean airtight, like the Chicago Bears defense in 85. Can't better see me make it in my prime. Take this, make it mine. Guess that's why I watch all of you rapping niggas shucking job.
Alright, so the Lakers, a little underwhelming this season, only 34 and 26, good for 6th in the West, a little below expectations, but Faran is still enjoying his best scoring season of his NBA career, only 0.3 points away from averaging 20 on the year, and he gets us started with a circus shot. That one's a little bit long, Lakers holding the slim lead. Kaylee tries to take it back, and he would successfully. He rims in that 3, and there's my first assist and our first lead of the night simultaneously. But then Lonzo Ball with a 3. We try to answer right back with a lob to Richaun Holmes, which is broken up. And I actually had 3 first quarter turnovers against the Lakers. You guys know, historically, I've always struggled against LA and this tough dynamic duo defensively here in the backcourt. 12 to 7 and make that 12 to 10. So some fireworks flying here early. We're going back and forth as Josh Hart has the equalizer for Faran's 3. And Faran tries to answer back. How about this entourage of offense to begin this game? This isn't really our style of play for the Pelicans, so we're going to have to try to limit this offense. And a dumb pass there from Richaun Holmes leads to LeBron flying down the lane. As you can see there, it wasn't just me committing turnovers here in the first half. Holmes has to have a better read of these things. But how about Kaylee responding right back? There's the equalizer for now LeBron's 3-point play as he would knock down the free throw and tipping that ball loose. I'm flying on the floor. I record that steal. Time to play some defense. The Lakers already at 18 points, only halfway through the first, splitting multiple black and gold jerseys as I take that strong for my first basket of the night. And in this episode, my jump shot's been a little bit off since returning from vacation, but 2 in a row there. Field goals, I mean. My first jump shot in what feels like forever. 40-36 is your score as we jump to the second half. Still a lot of offense. Faran, he's now pulling up, and it wouldn't be a video against Faran if he wasn't making us pay from all levels, especially from three-point land. 46-44, started making it a little bit competitive. Go back door to AD, and an one for the unibrow on top of Rui Hachimura. So AD misses the free throw, but still knotted up at 48 here. And check this out, Faran now playing some point guard here for Los Angeles, and we're going to be matching up for the final 5 minutes of this first half as I make a jump shot there. Only my third field goal, but this should be some fun. Faran and I going head to head here. But the very next time up the floor, now he has a chance to do some damage, a little long in the step back three, and now the Pelicans come the other way with some numbers. I see the brow going down the lane. Oh my, Anthony Davis catches the lob with one hand, fends off Markieff Morris with the other, and this time he hits the free throw. And Faran, though, wouldn't take long for him to hit me with a sneaky spin move as he glides his way to the rim. So, two hometown friends playing for different teams. This is what NBA basketball is all about, isn't it? 53-30 as I get a nice screen from Rashawn Holmes, using my offhand to protect Faran, trying for that chase down block. 55-50, continuing to go to battle. The offense has not been an issue for us, just wondering whenever we start playing some defense, and that's what AD does there. He stops on the break. A little bit weird there, but right when I saw him hesitate, I just turned on the Jets, received the pass, and there's a run out opportunity. 61-52, New Orleans on top with 2 and some change left to go as LeBron pulls it from Lee FU range. I don't want to say the actual wording, but Lee FU range is what I'm going to call it, as he's had a great first half. As Faran and LeBron, they've been the go-tos as usual. They have 32 points put together on 12 of 21 shooting, but not much offense outside of the duo as the Pelicans find themselves up double figures. That was a fun way to end off the half, going toe-to-toe with my childhood buddy, giving each other all we got, just like on the blacktop back home. The Pelicans, we haven't looked as sharp on defense as what we'd expect since the All-Star break, but today they have more than enough offense to keep up. Despite all the scoring, I actually lead the Pelicans with 14 points, 6 for 8 shooting in the second quarter after only going 1 for 4 with 3 turnovers in the first. Otto Porter and Aaron Cayley, they join me as the only 3 Pelicans in double figure scoring totals. Nice bounce pass there, gotta get my playmaking more involved to AD to kick things off. As he's still putting in work, there's now 11 points for the brow with 2 assists, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. Nice screen from the brow right there, giving me the opportunity to go one-on-one against Rui Hachimura. A step-through move as I convert despite the height mismatch. Now, just quickly jumping into the fourth quarter, not many plays from the third. This is what we all waited for here down the stretch, seeing if we can hold off the Lakers here in a big game to improve to above 500 since the All-Star break. But Faran, he's not going to make it easy for us. Lonzo, not much impact shooting the ball, but his playmaking's been just as good as mine tonight. Now LeBron in the post, Hart, he stops him dead in his tracks. Faran receives the pass, and just like that, the Lakers, they pull within 6. Now down by 4 as LA is on offense. And there's Faran again, this time from 15 feet. Anthony Thornton, our head coach, he calls timeout as Faran continues to go to work. He missed a floater like that for the first highlight of this game, but there he is. This time he converts it, 22 for Faran, and that's when head coach Anthony Thornton actually switched the matchup, but we'll get to that in a second. Hop step move, handoff to Rashawn Holmes, not quite that time, but a kick out for me. I cannot convert, 3 times the charm, not that time either. LeBron spikes it into the floor. And as you can see on defense, a tie game with 4 minutes up to go. I am now checking Faran for the rest of this game. We force a stop there finally. Knotted up at 97s. AD lurking down the lane. Finally, a field goal is made here in the fourth. Only 2 free throws from Anthony Davis up to this point. But halfway through the fourth, we finally secure our first field goal. We've had no offensive adversity tonight at all, and finally we hit a rough patch, but we're trying to close out the Lakers. Faran a little long on the layup that time, so another stop. Lonzo still on me, checking my hip. I kick this one out to Otto Porter, who finds some time here in the clutch instead of Josh Hart, who struggled tonight. Porter's been great off the bench since acquiring him near the trade deadline, so he's now receiving the time here in the spotlight minutes, now forcing a stop on LeBron. Is there anything he hasn't been doing tonight, Otto Porter? A quick move on Lonzo, kicking out to AD, the pass is at his feet, he still handles it and still knocks it down for my 8 assist. 104-99 is your score, 2:44 left to go. Now 101 for the Lakers. Entering the post is Holmes to AD, who converts again. He's starting to come alive here in the fourth. And despite overall this being one of our best games offensively as a team, AD's had his struggles from the field tonight. But now here down in the clutch moments, no stopping him. Up to 22, he had 12 of those in the fourth quarter. An offhand lob he finished right there, and we would ride the momentum from AD to this win as I step up, hit 2 free throws to seal it and take us home. Alright, so improving to above 500 after the All-Star break, 3-2 since coming back from Indianapolis. Your score tonight was 115-108 New Orleans. 24 points, 11 assists for AD along with 3 blocks and 3 steals. 22-9 for myself. Otto Porter came off the bench and was huge for us in the fourth. And you gotta think, with Josh Hart struggling again, his average for the season in points is below 10 again. Maybe it's time for Otto Porter to share that starting role with him sometimes. Faran with 24 tonight, but not much for him in the fourth. After I matched up with him, we kind of neutralized each other. It was pretty funny. My only points of the fourth quarter were those 2 made free throws at the end, and Faran only had 2 field goals in the fourth. So good job on defense for both of us, on each other really. And moving on, a bad loss here to Minnesota. But credit Karl Anthony Towns, he was a one-man show compared to AD, and Richaun Holmes only averaging for 16. Cat averaged, or put up 40 plus, I should say. 42 for Cat tonight. Prayers out for him. He's been going through a lot of tough stuff recently, so it's good to see him succeed, even if it's here in the video game. And here we are in Dallas, finishing episode number 53 against the last of the trio of my hometown friends, DeSean. We're 3-3 since the All-Star break. Let's see if we can finish above 500, not only since the All-Star break, but for this episode in particular as well. And DeSean wasting no time. Dallas, another 3-point shooting team, and DeSean averaging just under 20 points a game this season, 43% from beyond the arc. He will toss him up at any point in the game. Now on our first offensive possession, good screen from AD as I take that one on Luka. And Doncic, definitely one of the slower defenders I'll face this season. It's going to be plays like that where I'm going to have to take advantage. And now DeSean with the first 5 points for Dallas, and he wants a foul. He's not going to get it, but Dallas still on top. AD in the post. Great defense. But in all the confusion, I find myself wide open spotting up, hitting a 3. So DeSean begins the game with the first 5 points for Dallas, and I'm beginning the game for the first 5 points and the boys in red. Reminding me a little bit of Faran and I going back and forth last game. Dallas though with a huge early lead. We block Luka, but this has just been, if we could sum up the start of this game and that play right there, that would do a perfect job describing how it's been so far. We block Luka, he still retains possession and converts. AD at the free throw line, meaning I'm checking out. And coming back in, the bench holding it down a little bit. 33-32, overcoming that slow start. So our first possession on offense here in the second quarter. Got Willie Cauley-Stein on me. Quick cross, finishing with the offhand. So some decent offensive performances for me. Despite my jump shot woes, I'm starting to get the feel back after our little break there from All-Star Weekend. 41-36 now, as Josh Hart, he wasn't open on the first V cut, but he stays with it. He cuts again, flashes, and he converts. 44-36, Pelicans lead. 44-40 now, Tim Hardaway feeding DeSean, coming off a screen from Cauley-Stein. And DeSean, threes in bunches here for him tonight. Otto Porter here getting some more run with the starters, as going back door is AD, and Otto Porter have been very impressed with not only his overall play, but more importantly his playmaking. Another assist to AD there, and once again the brow at the free throw line, meaning I'm going to check out once again. But the bench, they kept us in it going into the end of the first quarter, but at the end of the second, it's been a much different story. Now down by 10, and no halftime show for this game. It's just going to be all Dallas from here on out, unfortunately. They rode that momentum for a huge third quarter. AD with a bad pass there, and it became the Luka show here in the third. All of a sudden, we were hanging with Dallas perfectly fine, and now Luka, he could not miss. Just like that, with the snap of the finger, Dallas finds themselves up 14. Doncic again, still not manufacturing any offense here in the third quarter, still searching for our first bucket as Dallas scores the first 3 baskets for either side. Dallas so athletic in the half court, it's hard to keep up when they're moving like this and sharing the ball like they are tonight. DeSean hits another 3, 76-58. It's starting to become a rout all of a sudden. Tim Hardaway drives to the basket, not much defensive resistance there. All of a sudden it's up to a clean 20 points. Dallas on a huge run to begin the third. Looking for any signs of life. I'm taking this one right, knocking over Luka. And there is a 3-point play, count the basket. So there's finally our first field goal here in the third quarter. It's been all free throws up to this point. But of course, there's the missed free throw, and of course it has to come now, right? 80-62 running that same play, and I see Josh Hart open. I kick it out to him, wide open, but leaving that one long. Josh Hart continues to struggle in this game. And I've talked about Dallas, their inconsistencies as a team, but we'll get to that right in 1 second once DeSean is done. Knocking down 3 after 3 this game, and he's letting this crowd know that Dallas just knocked off the number 2 team in the West. This one became ugly at the end, 121-96, and Dallas, like I said, one of the more inconsistent teams of this NBA season. I've talked about that in a little bit in previous episodes. It's all a matter of what Dallas team you're going to get on a nightly basis, and tonight we got the scary Mavericks team. 20 points, only 6 assists for me tonight. Playmaking was tough. 1, because guys were just not knocking down their shots. And 2, Dallas so athletic on both sides of the floor, it's hard to find guys open. DeSean Christian, 8 of 20 shooting, 22 points, letting him fly from 3, 6 of 15 from beyond the arc. And of course Luka with 31. Another tough defensive night for me. I did not have my stuff on either side of the ball. And we do some more simulating. We go 1 of 2 as we loom closer to the end of this season. Miami number 1 in the East right now, the best record in the NBA. And despite Anthony Davis's 39 points with 4 blocks, it was just not enough to combat Brandon Ingram, his 27 points leading the Heat. But we do get revenge on Minnesota. We travel up north to face the Timberwolves, winning that game by 10. And then we travel out west, but a loss, a heartbreaker, to Sacramento by 2. A good game, a good team effort, but it just was not enough. So we fall to under 500 since the All-Star break, and the next time out here in the Road to NBA 2K series, we're going to be taking on the Utah Jazz and the LA Clippers for 2 of the biggest games of the entire season, along with a matchup against the Washington Wizards for a reason you guys will find out next episode. Portland's still number 1, the Utah Jazz, they've jumped us in the standings. We're currently bookended by the Jazz and the Clippers for 3rd place right now. That's why those 2 games are going to be so huge. Dallas still 6th, the Lakers still 7th. They look to be locks with only about 16-15 games to go in the schedule. So the Pelicans, for the first time since really the beginning of the season, were hitting a bit of a rough patch. Under 500 since the All-Star break, accompanied by some really ugly losses. And throughout the entire season, the Pelicans, a top 3 ranked defense for pretty much the entirety of it, but ever since coming back from All-Star weekend, we've been getting torched, torn up, holes in our defense like Swiss cheese, especially out on the perimeter. So a lot of things to change if we're going to continue to fight for the number 1 overall seed and take some momentum into the playoffs. Stay tuned for the next episode here in the series, and stay tuned for the next UT Martin video coming soon.